Hey, welcome back to another Vlogmas video. I am Shalina from M7 Properties, and today I'm answering the 3 most answered questions that I get around property. So I think the most commonly asked question that I get is, can I start investing in property with no money? And that question always confuses me. I just think would you want to pick up some stocks without handing over some cash? Do you want some shares without handing over some cash? Some cryptocurrency? I just don't get it. Okay, so let me back up a bit. From the various platforms and stages where property educators speak, that's often the message that is promoted, that you can invest with no money down. And if you think about that logically, it might not be your money, but it has to be somebody's money. Properties generally aren't just kind of sat waiting for you to have for free. There has to be some exchange, some value that's exchanged. So there are ways that you can invest and leverage somebody else's money. So whether that be a mortgage, you would need a deposit, however, and that deposit can be come about in various different ways. So you could get a deposit from a private investor who loans you that money. You could get that money from inheritance. You could save it. You could partner with somebody else, which is a joint venture. So there are a number of ways that you could get that money. All right, so we've said that, you might have a mortgage. You may decide to do what is called a rent-to-rent, which is where you take control of a landlord's property, and you now take on the responsibility of giving him a guaranteed rent. What you may find you have to put some money into is the renovation works that's required. Sorry, the lighting keeps changing in here, so y'all have to bear with me. You may have to put some money in for the renovation work to bring it up to a good standard so that you can let it. If somebody is struggling to let their property, there's often a reason, and that could be that the property is in a bad state of repair. So obviously you're going to need to chip some money in to bring it up to a good standard. So we've said you could get a mortgage, you could do a rent to rent, you could what else could you do? You could do a lease option, which is where you agree with an owner to purchase their property further on down the road, but you agree the price today. So you lock in, value, because you're agreeing it today, and property generally goes up in value. So by the time that your option to purchase comes up, you would have hoped that the property would have gone up in value, and you now have purchased at the original price, so you have bought yourself some value. And with that, what's really exciting with lease options is that you don't have to purchase. It's not an obligation, it's an option. So you could decide to walk away, or you can sell that option on, so you can make money from the option that you sell on. So there are a number of ways that, yes, you can get into property, and if you have the education and you have the understanding, then you can control property without having to actually own it. But ultimately, as I say, it might not be your money, but it's somebody's money that has been paid at some point. And also there will be some costs that you have to incur. So whether that's legal costs, it could be renovation costs, as we've discussed. There will be some costs that are attributed to you. So I hope that answers that question. All right, so question number 2, the second most asked question that I get is around, where should I invest? Where in the world, where in the UK should I purchase an investment property? And there are a couple of things that you have to consider around this. You need to look at, first and foremost, what is your desired outcome? What's your objective with all of this? Is your plan to have like more free time, for example? Is it for you to continue working on your day job but to just have some additional income that you're saving for retirement, you're saving for emergencies? You need to understand what it is that you're trying to achieve, because that will dictate how far or how near you invest. Because obviously the further that you invest, the more it has its swings and roundabouts. The further you invest, you're going to end up spending more money, because you now need to employ somebody to deal with the management, the day-to-day management, to even oversee the renovations. If the property is nearer to you, you could potentially do that yourself, but do you want to? Again, it goes back to your objectives. Is your objective to be hands-on, to be there every day, or is it a passive thing that you're wanting to just tick away in the background? So there are pluses and minuses for investing nearer or further from home, and also, as I say, looking at what you're trying to achieve. Looking at as well, to just add to that, the yields in the areas that you're considering. So some areas have high capital appreciation, so the properties go up in value quite steadily and quite rapidly, whereas some areas haven't seen any growth for many years. So what is it you're after? Do you want cash flow? Is it that you want to give up your job and you want to have an income each month? That means you no longer have to work. So you have to look at the areas and what that market is kind of presenting, I guess. Okay, so the third and final question that I often get is, how do I get started in property? I would say there are a few things that you need to do and consider. So the first thing would be, are you planning to get a mortgage? Are you planning to get finance from a lender? If that is the case, then what you need to start to look at is your credit score. Making sure that your credit score, and not even so much just the score, but your credit report is in a good place. So you don't have incorrect information in there. If there are issues with things that are incorrect, making sure that they are put right, making sure that you are on the electoral roll, just getting your credit file into a good place so that when you start to approach lenders, that isn't a stumbling block for you. So that would be the first thing that I would say. The next thing would be working out how you're planning to get your finances together. What means do you have to get started in property? So that could be that you are gonna save, as I've said. That's a possibility. It takes a while to do, but you can do it. It could be that you come together with a relative, you come together with a friend, somebody you meet at a networking event. You can pool your resources together and get started that way. You could release equity from your property. So if you already own a home and your property has equity in it, you are able to release that money and then go on to invest using those funds. That's another way you can get started. I would definitely also encourage getting some property education. You don't always have to invest thousands and thousands into coaching or mentoring. There is so much free information online, but you know that old adage, you get what you pay for. But you could definitely get started so that when you do get to that place where you are ready to invest into your education, you're already kind of further ahead and you can kind of start with more juicier things. You're not starting from first principles. You can have kind of more high level conversations and ask better questions. So I would definitely up your education and understanding. So whether that's jumping onto Google or getting some books, some property education books from Amazon. That is a really good place to start. And then I would definitely jump onto Instagram. The gram is an amazing space for property investors who are very open and happy to share what they're doing, their strategies. They're happy to share the areas that they're investing, what's working, what's not working. People are just really open in property, so I would definitely suggest that you get onto the gram and start to connect with property investors and follow their pages. A lot of them will post their numbers, so they will show you what they purchased a property for, how much their renovation was. They'll literally break everything down. They'll tell you how much they've been able to release if they're doing the buy, refurbish, refinance. So that is a fantastic place to go. It's a great community, and you can often DM somebody and ask them a question. If there's something that they post and you want to unpack that further, then you can definitely go ahead and do that. And people are more than happy to talk. Everyone loves to share what they're doing and what they're up to. So I would make use of that for sure. And yeah, that concludes this video. I hope that it was helpful. I'll be back tomorrow with another Vlogmas video, and I hope that your run up to Christmas is awesome. All right, you take care. We'll speak soon.